Greetings and welcome to another episode of Veterans of the Cedar Valley. My name is Tom Haggerty. I'll be your host for this episode. It's been a long time since we've had a show due to the COVID, and at this time I'd like to just take a moment to remember our co-host and founder of these shows, Sid Morris, who passed away recently. Sid was a dedicated veteran, and he established these shows, and he even asked me to help him, which I appreciate. But we wanted to make mention that Sid had passed away. So during these shows, we've had guests on the show from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, and other issues of interest to veterans. And we want to continue that format. Today in the studio, my guests here are April Melton and Dan McDonald, who are current officers with Amvets Post 49. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being on the show. Dan, I want to start with you. Just give us a little short bio of what you've done, background and all that.
I enlisted in the Army while I was a senior in high school, finished high school, went in, served from 79 to 83. I was a lifting and loading equipment operator in the service. Got out and kind of moved around a few different places, and used to live in Waverly, and after the flood of '08, I got moved to Cedar Falls and started getting active with the Amvets down here, and continue being active with the Amvets and the Amvet riders here in Cedar Falls and with the state and national.
And Dan, you said you were enlisted, or were you drafted?
Enlisted.
Okay.
Yes.
April, kind of go over to you. Welcome to you again. April is the third vice commander of the Amvets Post, and tell us a little bit about you and your background in a little bio.
My dad was in the Army Reserve for 37 years, and he joined right about a year before I was born. And most of my childhood years, I went to the 404th Signal Corps while he was doing training. And so I thought, this is what I want to do. So when I turned 18, I signed a contract as in the reserves. And during my 26-year career, I went from being a ComSec operator to personnel for 12 years at the 389th Engineer Battalion, and then the 875th Replacement Company in Camp Dodge, where we were mobilized to go to Fort Bliss for 5 years.
Well, that's quite interesting. And April, your specialty in the Army was what?
The first one was 72 Echo, which is ComSec operator.
Well, you're winging those codes off of us.
Then I went to 42 Alpha, which was personnel administration, kind of like radar. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people can relate to that.
Can't run a unit without one.
Exactly. And then my final job, I ended up in public affairs with the 5th Armor Brigade in Texas.
And Dan, back to you. What was your specialty in the service?
62 Foxtrot, lifting and loading equipment operator. Forklifts, cranes, dump trucks.
You know, I was in the Air Force. We didn't have those numbers, so, but...
That's because they didn't want to confuse you.
Yeah, friendly banter. But yes, thank you. And then when you went, where did you go to basic training, I guess?
I went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri for basic training, and then came home as a hometown recruiter for about 45 days, and then went to Fort Lewis, Washington, and then to Germany.
You were deployed to Germany for your specialty?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
How long did you serve in Germany?
A year and a half.
Okay. And April, how long did you serve total in all those assignments that you gave us?
25 years.
Goodness.
364 days.
You counted the days. I love
I
it.
did, because that extra year was important.
Now, how many years did your dad have?
37.
And did you move around a lot?
With him, no. As a child, he was in the reserves, and he came up through the ranks here in Waterloo at the 404 Signal Corps, and then to make warrant officer, he had to transfer out of the state to the 322nd Maintenance Company in Minneapolis.
Okay. Dan, both you and April, like I mentioned, were newly elected officers this year in the Amvets Post 49 here in Cedar Falls. And I always tell people who ask me where the Amvets Post is that it's where the big flag is painted on the roof. And before that, I used to tell them it's where the helicopter sat on the pad. And nothing has changed right down there as far as location. But I did want to ask you, by my count, I think you're the 70th commander of Amvets Post 49. It's been open for about 100 years, I think.
I think like it was opened up back in the 40s. So yeah, 80 some years, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ike Leedy was the founding member with a group of people, veterans, and then Ike was the first commander. And there's been commanders who have served 2 or 3 years, but I was counting the pictures the other day, and I came up with 70. So that's what you are. So
Okay. Well,
but,
thank you.
Yeah. And then also, Dan, you've gone on from not only being the commander locally here, you've gone on and become commander or officer in state organizations and national organizations?
Yes, for the Amvets, I'm also the state commander. And then for Amvets Riders, which is an entity of the Amvets organization, I am national second vice at this time.
And that reflects on the hat that you have on?
That's for the state commander pin, the star.
Oh.
Yeah, the current star that I'm wearing is for the current standing commander. Okay. And then once a new commander comes in, then mine will go to be a silver one.
Okay. And April, you stepped up at the Amvets and got elected as the third vice commander. And I've been there and done that as an office. I've had most of the positions at the Amvets. But what is the third vice commander going to have to do?
Well, the positions that I accepted were third vice and also communications and historian. So I'm looking to expand those roles so that we can keep track of some of the events that have happened over those past 80 years. As third vice, we have a meat raffle, and we have a steak dinner that we're going to do every 3 months. So we're looking forward to doing that.
And now, just going to the subject of being the historical officer or in charge of history of the post, you realize that there's over 100 years of history at the Amvets, and it's probably not all digitized or electronic, so you're going to have a lot of research to do. Good luck to you on that, but most of all, good luck on the third vice commander, because if I'm incorrect, it involves planning of events and stuff at the Amvets with the help of everybody else. Mm-hmm. Dan, can you tell me what groups are involved at the Amvets? What groups are there?
Well, you've got the Amvets, which is the main group of the organization, and then you've got the auxiliary that came in shortly after the Amvets started, and that is any of the wives, mothers, sisters of veterans qualify to be auxiliary. And then you have the Sons of Amvets that I believe started back in the 70s, and that is the son, brother, father, grandfather, any of that of a veteran. And then we also have the juniors, which are those that are under age 18 that also would qualify to be a member in one of the other entities. And then from all that, we also have the Amvets Riders, which Cedar Falls was the very first chapter in Iowa for the Amvets Riders.
And the Amvet Riders were formed when I was the commander.
Correct.
And I think we had about 300 new veterans who joined because they rode motorcycles. Now they wouldn't let me in the Amvet Riders because I only had a 10-speed bike, but I am a supporter of it. But
Yes.
April, can you tell me a little bit about the numbers of members that are in the Amvets at this time?
We currently have about 831 members at Post 49.
And and I know you probably are looking at the history, but at one time, what was the highest number of members that we had?
I'm afraid.
I believe it was a little over 1,300.
Yep. Yeah, when I was commander, it was, we started out at, not when I was commander, but we were 1,400 members just in the Amvets. And then we picked up 300 members from the Riders, which gave you a great influx of personnel. Not only did they come in as riders, but we had new auxiliary members and stuff. And tell me, Dan, what do the riders do other than riding motorcycles?
They do a lot of fundraising. They do escorts for different things that are going on. Actually, some of them helped with an escort for, I forget what his name is, with Dalton Plumbing and Heating. They did an escort bringing him home yesterday because his health is declining.
Dave Krejci. Yeah.
Yes. They help with funeral services. They do a lot of big financial fundraising for the honor flight. The last time they donated $10,000 to the honor flight, and I believe that's what they're planning on doing again this year.
Good for them. We believe it or not, we've arrived at the halfway point of this show, and we're going to take a couple commercial breaks to help pay the bill. So we'll be right back with Veterans of the Cedar Valley second half.
I've been deployed overseas 6 times with multiple combat tours. I have had a bounty placed on my head by insurgent forces. I haven't missed a day, a beat, in my career. I haven't been in the hospital since the day I was born. Only one thing has been able to take me down: COVID. And now I've done my part to take COVID down, getting the vaccine.
If you are registered to vote and did not vote in the 2020 general election, your voter registration has been inactivated as required by state law, and soon you will receive a mailing asking you to confirm that your registration information is still current. Check the appropriate box, provide your current Iowa address if applicable, sign and date, and drop the return postcard into any mailbox. Postage isn't required. An inactive status does not affect your ability to vote. If you don't respond, you must vote in an election within the next 4 years or update your voter registration to avoid your registration being canceled. To check your voter registration status, visit sos.iowa.gov/miregistered.
Welcome back to this episode of Veterans of the Cedar Valley. My name is Tom Haggerty. In our studio today we have 2 guests from Amvets Post 49 here in Cedar Falls. Dan McDonald, who is the current post commander, and April Melton, who is the current 3rd vice commander of the post. We've been talking about various activities, their background of being in the Army, and now we're going to talk about different things that go on down at the post and activities that we're all involved in. April, can you tell me a little bit about the flag park out in the Amvets, in front of the Amvets?
It's beautiful.
How many flags do you think there are now?
Dan, could you help me?
Over
out?
300.
Over 300. Okay. And there's a picture on the screen right now of when the flags were up. And do you have to be a member, April, of the Amvets post to get a flag put in the flag park?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. You just have to be a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And then the price is, I think, about $175 for the pole because it's a 20-foot pole and stuff. But Dan, when we put all the flags up in the park, what do we do? Just leave them standing there for a couple days, or do we have a?
We have a Memorial Day service honoring all of those that have passed for veterans, and have some of the community there involved with that ceremony and the post. And we keep it up all through Memorial Day weekend in memory of all those veterans that have passed.
And out in the flag park of the 300 and some flags, there's one flag that's really special, and that's the POW, or not the POW, I'm sorry, the Medal of Honor flag. And that was put up by the post, and it honors Lieutenant Hibbs. Do you know the history of that, Lieutenant Hibbs?
I know of him and stuff. I do not recall the history of it, but yes.
Yeah, he was a first lieutenant who was killed in Vietnam. He held off a charge of Vietnamese and saved his troops, but he was killed. But he's from Cedar Falls, lived on 12th Street, and that flag, we now have a beautiful POW flag that flies out there with him. So, but now otherwise, the flags only go up on what weekend at the park?
The main one is Memorial Day weekend, but there is other times when we look to do that as well, and just to show commemorative for all those veterans that have passed, and the fact that it's just having all those flags up is just beautiful.
It is, and it's, we used to guard them at night, and it was just kind of really interesting to be out there with all those flags flying in the wind in the middle of the night, watching them and trying to remember people that were there. April, one of the things that I really like at the Amvets post is on Saturday nights we have steak fries. We had steak fries. And due to COVID and any other reason, those came to a halt. Do we plan at the Amvets to have more steak fries on Saturday night?
We do, and those will be the first Saturday of every month.
That's been definitely planned, first Saturday. And will we rotate it amongst the groups again?
Yes.
And who will be first?
We will.
Okay, the Amvets will. Okay, and you can get a nice meal down there, various cuts of steaks. It's not expensive.
Between $10 and $15
Yeah,
per
and you get it.
month.
What do you get with that? Potato and salad.
Yeah.
Each of the organizations will be in charge of planning their own meals. So the best way to contact and learn more about that is to join our Facebook group, where we have those types of posts on upcoming events.
I don't do Face It, so that's my nickname for Facebook. But otherwise, we're pretty definite that we're going to have Saturdays.
Starting in October.
Okay. And do you have to call in?
I don't believe so.
No.
Okay. And then when the steak fries are held, is it like first come, first serve, or as long as they last, or?
First come, first serve, and until they run out, from 5:30 till 8, or if they run out prior to 8 o'clock.
And after you pay the bill for the steaks, who gets the profit?
Each entity that does the steak night that night gets the profits for that to use to help support veterans in the area and help support the community.
Okay. April, I understand there's going to be a MIA POW ceremony. Is that planned, and what's the date?
It is. That will be the same night as September 11th.
Oh, the 911? Okay.
That will be the same date.
And as long as we're talking about the 911 ceremony, what is planned at the Amvets to commemorate that day? Either one of you.
Our second vice, Donovan Burke, is planning a program in commemorative, especially since it's the 20-year anniversary for 9/11, to go through that, plus the POW MIA.
And is the public invited to these events, April?
Absolutely. We
Okay.
would love to have you join us.
One of the things that I kind of like is that we have an excellent honor guard down there for when veterans pass away. And if veterans do not know this, or their family do not know this, can they get military rights, Dan?
Yes, they can. All they have to do is stop down, and there's a contact list on the wall off to the north side of the bar, and Jim Clements is heading up the honor guard, and he can get that all set up. And yes, they do a lot of, unfortunately, they do a lot of military rights.
The last I knew was like before COVID, they had done maybe 84 military rights for veterans who had passed away. And I'm not sure of the count now, but military rights are supposed to be offered to a veteran at no charge. And is that correct, April? I mean,
That is correct.
And our honor guard will do that mainly in the metropolitan area, I guess. We aren't going to travel to Des Moines because they've got honor guards down there, but they do a good job, both with like firing party, which is the rifles, or everybody will call it a 21 gun salute.
Yeah.
But what else goes on in the military rights, April? Besides the firing of the weapons.
With Post 49, we offer a thunder salute.
That's if the writers come and explain that, as long as you brought it up.
Well, during the celebration of life, our thunder salute is where our riders rev up their engines, and it is almost as beautiful a sound as those flags flapping during the Memorial Day ceremony, which is how I became a member of the Amvets.
The last time I heard the thunder salute, or the thunder roar, whatever the correct title is, was at Sid Morris's memorial celebration of his passing.
Yes.
And it was out at Western Home Community at the Diamond Center.
Right.
And there must have been 40 or 50 bikes there, Dan?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many, but there was a lot of them, because a lot of people have so much respect for Sid. That
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll bet you when that thunder salute began, and they revved up their Harley Davidsons or whatever, not their 10-speed bikes, but anybody in the area who was taking a nap probably got woke up. And we apologize for that, but that's it's getting to be part of our military rights. But you already said who you contact to get military rights at the post, right?
Yes.
And that's
Jim Clements.
okay. Does the Amvets Post rent the facility out for military rights, funerals inside, celebration of life
Yes.
for families to use for a veteran, and how does that work? Who do they contact down at the Amvets?
Again, the funeral director would call the Amvets Post and make arrangements for that.
That's correct. The funeral director, you're hiring him to do the funeral process, and you're probably paying him to do that. So just give a call down to the Amvets Post, and the manager, if they're there, will get it scheduled for you. And we've had a lot of them, not necessarily due to COVID, but we can accommodate. We've got, I call it the large meeting room and the small meeting room. And then that leads me into Dan talking about, I've heard about an expansion of the outdoor service area.
Yes, to the south of the building, from there to the garages, we are looking at fencing that in for outdoor activities. For one, because so much that came up with social distancing and everything, this gives us the opportunity to be able to spread out more, have more space to have tables for people to sit at and stuff like that. But yes, we're hoping to have that all in place before the end of this month.
So that would be like where the helicopter sits on the pad, or just in front of it?
The helicopter will sit just outside the fenced-in area, so that way we don't have to worry about people.
In what direction will the fence go? Will it just run alongside the veterans post or what?
It will go from our exit door on the south side of the building. It will not include that door because we want to leave that for people to be able to get into the post, but it'll go just from the side of it straight across to the garages and then out to the west of the west garage. It will come north and then go over towards the helicopter and then go north to our west door and include that in our fenced-in area.
Will it be tied into the current outdoor service area that's on the north end of the building?
No,
Okay.
no.
But now, can people rent that area also, or have a party out there when it gets built?
Yes, they can get things set up in there. Just last month, during Sturgis Falls weekend, we had 2 class reunions down there. Plus, we were doing a banquet for the Marine Band all at the same time, and one of the class reunions set up outside there in that area.
Well, that made a busy weekend for the post, and we're going to end the show pretty soon. April, again, if I was a new veteran in town and I wanted to belong or join the Amvets, what do I do?
It's very simple. Come down to the Amvets post, and we will get you a sign-up form, and it's just $30 cash to join for a whole year. I think that's an incredible value for all of the camaraderie that you can get as a service person.
And I should bring along auxiliary members or junior potential members.
Absolutely.
Right.
Or ride down there on my Harley Davidson or my 10-speed bike.
We would love to have you.
Well, we have arrived at the end of our show, and I want to thank both of you for being here. April, good luck in your new job as a first-year vice commander at the Amvets. Dan, even though it's new to you, this is your first year as commander, and I'm sure that you'll go on, both of you will go on to better and higher officers, and I encourage you to do that. We've all been there and done it, and I'm just glad that somebody's stepping in to keep it going. And I know we welcome veterans down there. I thank you guys both for your service in the Army and your service in the Amvets and in our community. And thank you again for being here as my guest.